Well, joining me on the news to shed more light on the report by the World Bank is MD and Chief Executive Officer of Dignity Finance and Investment Limited, Chijioke Ikechukwu. Thank you so much for joining us on the news. Now, what do you make of this World Bank's ranking?
World Bank, like we all know, is an international development bank taking care of all the activities of countries in the world. Usually, before credit facilities are given to all these countries, they do their own appraisals. And in the appraisal of World Bank concerning these countries, they have looked at certain risks. Of course, here we're talking about country risks and the counterparty risks, which they have considered. And when all these considerations were done, they saw that the countries mentioned, including Nigeria, India, all the countries that they have mentioned, Tanzania, Kenya, Ghana, Uganda, as the case may be, that these countries have this risk, they have risk exposure with them. Now, in considering countries by countries, the various appraisals are going to be different, and that is how the ranking has been done. So as I was talking about country credit risks, there are other risks to be considered. Foreign exchange risk is going to be considered, which is also linked to the country risk. When you talk about the counterparty risk, it's also linked somehow. Now, you talk about some kind of country risks. Also, it can be determined by the level of risks associated with insecurity in Nigeria and some other things that they have considered. So they will look at your debt to GDP ratio. They will look at your debt to revenue ratio. They will look at a whole lot of things. They are going to be watching the population growth against the GDP growth. And when they watch all these things, then they will place all this ranking. So this is just to enable them to put these countries on a watch list to see what they can do and to make sure if they are requesting for more credit facilities, they have to probably say, we're not going to give you again because of the risks we have identified. And so that is how some of these appraisals are done.
Now, to what extent do you think Nigeria's growing debt will affect chances of economic revival?
Well, it depends on a whole lot of things. It depends on how Nigeria is assuring the development banks all over the world that they can really utilize the facilities, the credit facilities given to us. It depends again on the level of transparency that they have seen on Nigeria. It also depends on how well Nigeria is able to convince the whole world that the word corruption still has been reduced from the affairs of Nigeria. So it also depends on how we have been able to utilize the ones given to us and what we have been able to make out of what has been given to us. And it also depends on how the insecurity in the country can be pushed aside or ameliorated in order for us to improve our economy. These are some of the things that will determine whether Nigeria can get more or not. They're also going to be looking at, like I said before, what part of our revenue can we use to pay back this? In other words, they're looking at that debt to revenue ratio. When that ratio is not looking very well, like that of Nigeria, it may be difficult for them to approve further. But of course, sometimes they may also want to approve further in order to remedy, to have some remedial arrangements with Nigeria. So I don't think it's they have closed the doors against Nigeria, but of course, when this ranking is done, it determines the amount of funds that will be made more available to Nigeria and these countries that are listed.
Mr. Chijioke Ikechukwu, thank you so much for your time.